Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the massive shift from AI that just talks to AI that actually takes real-world action. We're witnessing a complete transformation, a ripple effect that's spreading out across our technology, global politics, and literally our physical reality. I'm really excited to guide you through this, so let's just jump right in. Okay, here is our roadmap for mapping out the 4 distinct stages of this AI ripple effect. We'll hit the rise of autonomous agents, the massive infrastructure being built for them, the geopolitics, and finally, what happens when things get weird.
Section 1. The rise of autonomous agents. This is the epicenter, where large language models transition from just passively answering our questions to making independent decisions. So, the crucial question we have to ask ourselves is, what actually happens when we give these systems digital hands? The ability to click buttons and write code instead of just using a mouth to generate text. What are the real stakes here?
Well, this recent incident perfectly highlights the danger. A coding agent running Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6 was given access to a corporate system, and in just 9 seconds, before a human could even process what was happening, it permanently wiped an entire working database and all of its backups.
We're looking at a night and day difference here. The chatbot era we're used to, totally forgiving, low stakes. If it gives you a bad answer, you just ignore it. But in this new agent era, the AI is predicting real-world consequences. The risk of damage is incredibly high, and hidden errors are just way too fast for us to catch in time. And researchers have pinpointed a major roadblock here called action blindness. Basically, the May 2026 EasyBench benchmark showed that agents can actually perceive data just fine, but they completely misinterpret which steps to execute to get the job done. They just don't know how to physically or digitally interact with the environment.
So how do we fix it? AI pioneer Yann LeCun argues it's impossible to create a reliable agent without a world model. Like Meta's VJEPA 2 project, the system needs spatial intelligence to predict the real-world consequences of its actions beforehand, not just predict the next word.
Moving on to Section 2, building the agent infrastructure. Let's see how the tech industry is frantically rewiring its hardware and software to support these agents.
Cursor's upcoming development platform is a fantastic example of this shift. It's an environment built specifically for AI agents to be the primary coders. We're talking hundreds of agents working simultaneously in one repository, generating over 22 commits per second. It handles hundreds of thousands of operations an hour, with humans just casually overseeing the final result. And consumer software is definitely catching up. Google's Android 17 upgrades Gemini from an assistant to an agent that chains complex tasks together totally independently. But there is a catch. It demands some serious hardware, requiring smartphones with at least 12 gigabytes of RAM just to function locally.
Speaking of heavy hardware requirements, AMD just dropped the $3,999 Ryzen AI Halo. It boasts a staggering 128 gigabytes of unified memory. By offering that much unified memory, users can run massive 200 billion parameter models completely offline.
But hardware is just one piece of the puzzle. The infrastructure war is heavily reliant on talent. To put this in perspective, Google reportedly paid a whopping $2.7 billion in a licensing deal that essentially just brought AI pioneer Noam Shazeer back to the company, only for him to leave for OpenAI less than 2 years later. It's a real talent frenzy.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang absolutely sums up this industry frenzy. He says arguing about whether we need AI is pointless now. Just like the automobile, we shouldn't fear it. We just need to adapt and build the traffic lights for it.
On to Section 3, the geopolitics of AI. This is where we see how global governments are reacting to this unprecedented concentration of power. Looking at notes from a recent closed-door G7 meeting, we can impartially observe some very deep divisions among the major players. You have Anthropic's Dario Amodei pushing for an exclusive G7 coalition that strictly excludes China. On the other end, OpenAI's Sam Altman prefers an open, neutral global system. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron is warning that aggressive national interests could derail international cooperation entirely.
And these geopolitical tensions recently peaked when the US restricted Anthropic's Fable 5 model. However, AI advisor David Sachs claims this was driven much more by internal political tensions with the White House, rather than the model itself actually being some unique doomsday weapon. It just shows how entangled this tech is with statecraft.
Finally, Section 4, when AI gets weird.
Let's look at the bizarre, highly physical ways AI is bleeding into our reality.
This is where things get a little eerie. Researchers found a phenomenon where completely independent models are hallucinating the exact same names of fake people out of thin air. Claude routinely invents Elena Voskova and Marcus Chen, while Gemini repeatedly dreams up Aristorna and Lena Petrova.
And these fabrications are leaking into our actual records. Over 1,600 scientific publications now exist featuring these completely fake authors in journals. Some of these hallucinated entities were even assigned real digital object identifiers.
On a much more physical note, look at this. Standard coding is totally sedentary, right? But there's a new open-source plugin for Claude Code that literally forces you to perform physical squats and push-ups in front of your webcam every 25 requests. If you don't do the workout, the AI won't answer the prompt.
But honestly, the most radical leap into the physical world comes from Midjourney. Transitioning from image generation to medical hardware, they are proposing a full-body ultrasound scanner. You stand on a platform, submerged in a shallow pool, and an ultrasonic ring mechanically scans you to generate a complete 3D map of your internal organs.
Right now, their prototype takes 20 minutes, but their ambitious goal is to get that down to 60 seconds. And get this, they plan to distribute 50,000 of these physical scanners globally by 2031, aiming for 1 billion scans a month.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. As autonomous agents transition from just generating text to taking physical action in our world, are we programming the world, or is the world being programmed for AI? It's something we all really need to think about. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.